Okie dokie. Oh, let's have a little cloth that I put in front of my camera, just in case. Uh, okay, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the stream. I always wonder about like I know I'm in Rumble, and I know I'm not, I don't have a thing open to kick. I have to the dashboard, but not to the kick, not to the page that you would actually watch my stream on. And of course YouTube. I'm also running that from studio, so I can account for Rumble, but I can't account for Twitch. And so if you're someone in Twitch that's watching, say hello. Anyways, okay, so I am actually behind today now. I was hoping to get done by the end of March. That would mean that this would be done 11 and 12 here. Okay, 13. Well, I can fudge that a little bit. If I can get two done next week, I should still be on time. But it would have been 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, like that. I already have 14 done. So that leaves one. So if I could, well, I'm not even sure I'll be able to completely get chapter 11 done today. I know pretty much what I'm doing now. I'm almost got all the decision point things down, but then I'll have to decide how many pages I'm actually creating, and I'll have to create the pages. And I do the thing where I copy the files over instead of like adding a new room in the editor, because this is a little bit easier because this sets up some default parameters when I copy it from the same thing, because it's the same chapter. It's actually from the same title. It's just a different page, and then of course the actual page title. Um, so that's kind of why I do that way. That's why I need to get back on my tool, my layout tool that I'm was building, so that make this kind of stuff quicker. Um, what was I saying? Um, okay, so um, I don't know. My brain is leaving me for some reason. Dad's playing Beatles in the other room, and so my mind's just kind of going. I'm gonna listen to the Beatles. What you fumble around? Okay, so I could actually I can still fake it. I didn't think about that, right? I have 18 chapters now. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I still get there on time if I get at least get 11 done today, and I'm not even sure I can do that. Why? Because I have to do all the pages. I pretty much know what I'm going to do, but I'm not completely 100% done yet because I gotta figure out a couple of things. Um, I know that you're gonna be presented with three choices. So here's the deal, right? Roland goes into the mines, and I'll say something like, um, I don't really know how this will actually work out if when you're doing actual rooms with text parser or even a point and click. But at least as far as this text thing goes, which is it's kind of easier right now. He goes in and he decides to start going south. Why? Because the dwarven parents always told their children never to go south because that's where the gnomes will be and they'll snatch you, right? They'll steal you from your parents or whatever. And so that used to be like a scary story they used to tell your kids to keep them in mind and keep them from looking over. Of course, Roland did so anyways, and in fact, he had an incident that he caused, where he caused like a partial collapse in the tunnel um, where the actual secret entrance lies. And I'm not sure even sure what form that takes yet. because I haven't, I haven't like a full like think through, or I haven't bounced ideas off of anything yet. So, but you'll be presented with three choices at some point. At some point, you're gonna you're gonna be like, oh, this is the old library that my mom used to take me to, or Roland, Roland will be saying that his mom used to take him to, and then there's a further path going left and right, um, beyond that, and you can take the right path, the left path, or you can go into the library, and that's kind of how that works there. Then I do have to structure the library a little bit, but I don't really have to do that much page wise because the thing won't be necessarily finding. How do I say that? Um, I might set up a thing with like three different choices, like reference and this and that, and or fictional, whatever. Maybe the fictional is intentionally small, right? And I should also do another thing as far as I just thought of something. So the idea is that his mom's favorite book, because of her parents' history, uh, was Romeo and Juliet, right? It's actually from Shakespeare, right? Okay, so we're gonna put that somewhere in the story at some point in the past. William Shakespeare actually visited Enchanted Lands. Okay, we'll just say that, right? So she has this book, and it's the only book that's from another realm. The rest is all about about metallurgy and building things and tools and carving and rock and ore and all that kind of stuff. Um, and um, so you might have like a fiction section. Let's say fiction or something, or other realm, or some stories from other realms or something. And what if that's the only like really weird looking book there? Well, anybody could come into the door of the library and check that out. Now, they're not very likely to because they're dwarves. Dwarves don't hold the stories and stuff. Uh, so it's gonna even be a little bit small. But the thing is, if you're just some random dwarf, some curious guy, more curious than say everybody else, and you go in there and you see this and you're like, Romeo and Juliet, what's that? And then you pull it, then the door's going to open. So I need to find a way of making sure um, that you can't open that. You can't just open that. I have to figure that out. Anyways, okay, so I don't know all 100% of what I'm going to do here, but I know mostly. So we're going to get on that. We're going to see if we can finish that. In fact, this might be the only decision point in the chapter. In fact, this is probably the only chapter that will have only one decision point. But I'm gonna. There's a tendency for me to put a bunch of extra like rooms in there. Yeah, let's do something here. Let's actually open recent. There we go. Okay, so finding the secret entrance. Okay, there's actually only one secret entrance, and then the two or three other paths go into the Gnome Kingdom, which are also technically secret, but they're not actual secret paths. They're not actually built paths that are meant to allow traversal between the two kingdoms. Okay, so let's go ahead and wait. Am I? Yeah, microphone's on. Good, good, good. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring up Chat GPT, and I almost need to start a new conversation here, but yeah, I'm still wondering if there's what would be good to actually pay money for, or if I should pay money at all. I know some people would say you shouldn't pay money at all. And live. Um, that you shouldn't pay money at all, and some say you shouldn't be using it all of their stuff because it's not private and you should do everything local. Well, I mean, I have an okay machine. It could probably do some local things. I don't think it's powerful enough to do that much. Uh, if it's this stuff, this is fine. But later on, when I start doing like concept stuff, I'm gonna need or I don't need it, but I'm probably gonna want to use a an AI image generator, right? And now I can use some free ones like Grok, Imagine, and I don't know. There's probably a couple other free ones that I can kind of mess with. But so I'm gonna want some sort of imaging capability. I'm not really interested in doing it for content sake. Sorry, trying to adjust the cushions here. Um, but for concept and stuff, I'm gonna be wanting to do that. So I'm gonna be wanting something that does a little bit of everything. Maybe more on the creative side, maybe more on the like stories and stuff. Has an okay context window, which they all kind of seem to do okay. It's only Gemini that seems to have the extra large context window. Maybe that is something that would be more useful to me if I pay for it. Hmm. What are the usage differences in Gemini, Google Gemini? Free and Pro. Optimized for speed but limited in reasoning and depth. Pro access to Gemini 3. More advanced models, superior accuracy, reasoning, and handling queries. 32K tokens, restricted long form document analysis. Multi step reasoning, 1 million tokens, 1,500 pages. 1,500 pages, you know, that means it could analyze my notes. Still might be a way to go. I mean, it's Google after all, though. You know, if you're trying to de-Google and because of the way that they are about all their stuff, I don't need necessarily all the integrated Google stuff, though. That's the only reason that I wasn't even thinking about that. Free 50 AI credits a day for video, limited brain image generation 3 a day, 5 deep research reports a month. Pro 1,000 AI credits a month, 100 images a day, 20 deep research reports a day, 3 videos a day with VO 3.1. See, that might be useful. The VO part, not so much because right now I don't need video. I mean, it to me it'd be fun to play with video if I had some money and stuff. That would be a whole nother thing, like trying to make a short or a video or a movie or something with a video generator. But as far as my game dev goes, I don't need video. But the context daily and the being able to do the large file thing, you know, 267 pages or 268 pages is not a whole lot, but it's way larger than most of the other ones can handle. Workspace, no integration. Gmail. See, I don't need that. I don't need Gmail doc sheets or Drive because I don't use those. Advanced features, free basic image generation. No notebook LM, limited video tools, no video 3.1. Pro Notebook LM Plus 500 notebooks, VO 3.1 video generation, and AI powered code assist. Although if I was paying for Google Pro, I would probably find some time to make use of the video thing, the video generation, just for doing it. Nothing to do with my game. Sure. Uh, 15 gig of shared storage. Pro 2 terabyte shared storage and family storage for up to 6 people. Priority and stability 3, subject to rate limiting. Storage is not as big of a deal to me, but as far as this game is concerned, I don't mind it being on the cloud. I mean, I still have my copies and stuff on disk, but actually storing it up on like in Google Drive, if there was some reason I couldn't access it, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And because I'm uh, showing spoilers and everything, I mean, I don't care if people even see any of the stuff. When I went to, I have everything GitHub desktop, including some of my just like my documents and stuff for like design stuff, notes and all that. But I blocked them from being, how do I say it? I blocked them from being stored or being accessed on GitHub desktop. There's something, I forget why I did it. I did it for some reason just because I didn't want anybody just like downloading stuff or something. I forget. I don't have a problem with people looking at whatever's in there. It's just there was an issue that I was going. I don't know if I want to, you know, I want to put it out where just people just download all that extra stuff, or I have something in there. Maybe there's something in there that I wanted to. Let's check that out. Shoot, for a guy that's supposed to be working on this game and trying to get it done by a deadline, I'm not spending that much time on the game, am I? Okay, let me do this really quick. Really quick. Let's go to favorites. Let's go to Enchanted Lands, design docs, layout tool, rooms list, the backups. I wonder if did I don't know if I excluded them or if I just masked them from being public. I think that's what I did. Right? Adventure game phases, rooms, list, locales. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I. Anyways, that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Let me finish reading this, and then I'll get right into the deal. I don't still know exactly what Notebook LM is. Privacy free subject. Hmm. Uh, exactly is that? Why is it an extra thing for Google AI? Why is it a separate deal? Source-grounded AI research assistant developed by Google, designed to analyze and interact with your own documents. Unlike general AI chatbots, it only uses the content you upload, such as PDFs, Google Docs, web links, or YouTube transcripts, to generate summaries, answer questions, and create study materials. Source grounding reduces hallucinations and ensure responses backed by inline citation from your material. Audio overviews turns your documents into podcast style discussions between two AI hosts, summaries, key points conversationally. Interactive learning, generate study guides, quizzes, timelines, facts from uploaded content, ideal for students, researchers, document expertise. Specialists on your sources, enabling precise analysis of contracts, research papers, or internal reports. Multi-source synthesis can pull insights from 50 documents free or 300 plus. Making it powerful for complex projects. Why is it a separate product from Gemini? Serve different purpose. Gemini is a general purpose AI that pulls from the web and it's training data for broad creative or real-time queries. What's training in AI? Notebook LM is a focused research tool that stays strictly within your uploaded content. So runs 50-page report. Oh, that's interesting. See, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that's what it was. So that explains some things. Higher accuracy, enhanced trust via citations, reduce hallucinations, specialized workflows. Oh, it's quite interesting. So I can provide it. Essentially it's like your own like AI, right? Um, you're not actually building an AI, but it's like um, it would be training on whatever data you feed it instead of whatever data Gemini was trained on. That makes sense. Core features. Google One AI Premium, higher limits, collaborative notebooks, advanced outputs, video overviews, and infographics. So if one was not interested in Google Google Apps integration, but everything else, would it be worth it to pay for premium or plus or whatever it's called, i.e. the $19.99 month plan? You don't care about Google Workspace integration. Gemini Advanced Access, you get Gemini one deep research, high limits. So I could easily put in my notes, which is an ODT doc. I can convert it to any format. Game design notes into it could analyze it and help me reorganize the info. It's like 268 pages. So I think most other AI tools might have a trouble with that without chunking, I guess. Upload your. You'll need to convert it to support a format like PDF, docx, or text first. ODT is not directly supported. That's fine. Supports documents up to 500,000 words or 200 megabytes, and a 268-page document is well within that limit. However, if it exceeds word count or file size, it'll be rejected and only partially processed. Convert your ODT to PDF or docx using tools like LibreOffice, Google Docs, or online converters. Yeah, but how is... I don't know how many words this is. I wonder if I can count the number. Oh, 100,000 words. Okay, and then what's the this one. I'm assuming this is the correct one. I had a different copy somewhere else, I think, but this is I'm pretty sure this is the one. It's only 300K, so let's see. Let's see some here. Format file properties. Enchanted Phase 1, Enchanted Lands design documents. Okay. 294K, 300,000 bytes. Just making sure it's the same one. Okay, it is the same one. As an ODT, it's 9,000 words, about 300 KB on disk. Okay. I guess I'm kind of late still, am I? I'm still late, right? Yep. 200 megabytes. Okay. Would I be able to do this with the free version? See, if I can do it with the free version, I might do it with the free version. You can edit your single document with that issue. Upload and convert your ask questions about game design, get summaries, recommendations, suggestions, study guides. Deep iterative work, no response. You can if you standard 50 daily queries, the free version is sufficient. Huh, I might do it for free then. Can it organize the data according to my preferences, and then also remove exact duplicate data and create a new document based on that. Not a document editor. Interesting. Identify redundancies and structure suggested. Manually edit your document or word processor. Third-party tool to script to detect and remove exact duplicate paragraphs. Interesting. Okay, I'm done with that for right now. I should have said thanks, I guess. Whatever. Friday, March. It's March. March 6th, 26. Okay, let's get back into it. Here. Let's close that. Notes open, that's fine. Have this summarized. Okay. and we are going to figure out exactly what I need to do here. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and put it down here. Let's start with the abandoned. Abandoned. I mean, I guess technically. And Dwarven Hall. Okay. Dwarven Hall. Lovers Passage. Okay. Smuggler's Gate. Let's call it Smuggler's Gate. Now, even though dwarves are dwarves and are above reproach for the most part, we could perhaps say that they're not perfect, and occasionally one might be a little bit greedy than normal, and so maybe there's some smuggling going on. Maybe. I don't know if I want to get that. Smuggler's Gate. I call it Smuggler's Gate, which is the true secret entrance. Okay. Okay, so I already have the one idea here. Okay. Roland moves south because when he was a kid, his mom used to scare him by saying, "Never go down south." Truth is that the gnome kingdom is south. Now, so Roland moves south. Okay, let's look at this for a second though. Okay, he's moving south, and okay, let me do the thing that ChatGPT does well here. Okay, really, I'm just wanting to bounce ideas off. So, to get to the 3 paths, he moves south. There are 2 reasons for this. Dwarven parents would tell their children that the gnomes would take them if they ventured too far south. But also, the library, the Dwarven library, Dwarven, you know, I don't know. I know this is misspelled here, but I don't know. You wouldn't say dwarfen, would you? Dwarfs. See, dwarfs is the proper spelling. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. A dwarven library that he used to visit with his you know, it seems like libraries are very important in my game here, because John works at a library. His mom works at a library, so he got a job working at the library under his mom. Okay, because he likes books. He retreats into books. He reads fantasy, obviously, that sort of thing. Uh, and then also we have Fairy God College Library that's has these special fairy tale books that end up trapped in the Vacation Princesses. And then there is the Wizard U Library where uh, Sir William found out about where Hubert lived. And so libraries are kind of a big important deal here. So now we have the Dwarven libraries too. I almost should have a gnome library, but I want it won't have a gnome library. Um, they wouldn't read books. Gnomes, they're nasty guys. They don't go for any of the higher stuff, higher quality stuff. Um, is towards the south of the dwarf mines. Not in the extreme south, but close enough that it would be as far south as any dwarf would go. Um, Library is going to be a big part, so that's probably the angle I should go with. However, I don't necessarily, don't necessarily, I'm not trying to necessarily make the player pick the library route, but I want it logical enough for Roland to use that. Also, I need to think of a reason to choose right or left or right, left or right over the library. It is Smuggler's Gate, which is what I'm calling the true secret entrance, and abandoned all. Really, I should find a way to word it so that it gives each path equal weight. Well, it doesn't sound like Dad is going to laying down right now, so maybe he's feeling awake today, which is actually kind of good. I don't mind the music that's in the background. I don't think you can hear it because I got the suppression. Really trying to solve is how Roland justifies each direction so that the player feels like any of them could possibly work. That's the key to giving choices equal weight. So right now you have a strong geographic setup. South, closer to the gnome side of the caves. Library ahead. Place Roland remembers from childhood. Left passage, area tied to his past accident. Right passage, deeper tunnels that feel unfamiliar. So instead of making the player choose blindly, you can have Roland think out loud. In a light-hearted adventure game, that works really well because the protagonist often narrates the reasoning. The trick is each option sounds reasonable for different reasons. There's passage route. Roland remembers coming here with his mother when he was younger. The Dwarven Library sits closer to the southern end of the mines than most places tourists are willing to go. If anyone in the past had dealings with the gnomes or recorded anything about them, it might be mentioned in the books here. Even if gnomes sealed the kingdoms apart long ago, old Dwarven records might reveal forgotten passages. I never even thought about that. So your library would actually might have a record, kind of like you would at City Hall. It might actually be in City Hall, but we could say there's a good chance that the library actually has some historical documents and things. So that does kind of make sense. I might say something like, "Mom used to bring me here." If anyone wrote down how the old tunnels connected, it'd be in the library. The route appeals to logic and memory. Okay, so yeah, so I'm gonna have to set up a thing first. He already knows that he has to go into the Gnome Kingdom. Uh, he also knows that there is supposed to be a secret entrance. That he used to know about this. He kind of used to know about the secret entrance, but he kind of forgot. He kind of forgot where it was. Let's see. I wrote down how the old tunnels connected. Okay, left tunnel. This is a place where he caused the accident that ultimately got him kicked out of the Dwarven mines. He remembers part of the passage collapsing after something went wrong and the old machinery down there. Um, right tunnel. No, no, no. Okay. Well, I get it, but the incidents. No, no. But do somewhere a hidden passage. Okay. Small bonus trick. Presented as a fork chamber. Reaches junction ahead. Old Dwarven library. Just bring an unfamiliar stone. Then Roland comments on each option briefly. More thing you're concerned about Roland's story feeling too coincidental is actually not a big problem in it. Uh, okay. Okay, so things a little backwards here, and maybe just because I haven't been clear enough or given you enough info. The incident, the tunnel that the incident happened in is the one that uh, connects to the Smuggler's Gate. Gate. In fact, Roland probably already knew about it and maybe even used it. However, everyone else had forgotten. When he caused the accident, uh, that's when they kicked him out. and sort of declared it off limits. Okay. The side with the abandoned hall, say the dead-ended hall, and then dead-end hall is where the machine was sealed off. Makes the structure cleaner, not more confusing. It just means two mechanical story pieces swap rolls a little flat, and it looks like forward, left, Smuggler's Gate, Roland's accident tunnel, right, abandoned hall, sealed machine. The important part is that Roland's memory only strongly connects one of them. Let me rewrite the logic for each path so it fits what you just clarified. Gerard Library is one of the few places Roland remembers visiting often with his mother when he was young. It sits near the southern edge of the mines, farther than most dwarves are comfortable traveling because of the old superstition that gnomes live beyond those tunnels. Roland knows that the library holds most of the dwarven history, trade routes, old tunnel maps. If there are once diplomatic meetings or secret dealings with the dwarves and the gnomes, someone may have written about it here. Even if the records are incomplete, the books might contain hints about forgotten passages in the southern tunnels. Because of that, Roland could reasonably believe the library might reveal some way to get into the gnome kingdom. Okay, that's fine. In fact, that's even the paragraph. I could even use that paragraph, and I probably would because this is kind of the thing I would write anyways. Left tunnel, Smuggler's Gate, Roland's accident. Roland immediately recognized this tunnel years ago before he was exiled. It was one of the deeper passages he explored while experimenting with the steam-powered. No, he doesn't experiment with the machine. He um, no, it's see, still getting it wrong, and I'm wondering if it's just because the context window is used up. Uh, no. See, the mining machine is not uh smugglers. It's not a smuggler's gate. Remember, the dwarves don't use machines or magic, but are master craftsmen. Back in the day, Roland's maternal grandfather built this machine that was supposed to cut their digging time down in order to process more ore faster. It went berserk. Since they couldn't turn it off directly because it was acting wildly, they hastily sealed it up. And that's why the abandoned hall is a dead end. It just stops with a wall with seemingly no purpose. Um, right. So you're right, they hear noises, they keep out, etc. And eventually Roland will find a way in there. On the smuggler's gate side, there's a secret way to get into the known kingdom. It was actually built for that. Forgotten to time mostly when Roland was even younger, he would play in this tunnel while his mom was in the library. I'm going to say he found the secret entrance, and was able to visit the kingdom. Maybe watch a few things and then leave without being seen. Then there's one time where there's an incident. I have to actually come up with this, like, out of my hat. It causes a partial cave-in. And that, in fact, that hall also is going to have a purpose other than the Smuggler's Gate, right? It also dead ends, but it doesn't dead end in the same way. In other words, it's not unfinished. It's completely finished. It stops there. So I'm going to have, I don't know if there's going to be some offices or if there's another building or what. There's going to be something there that, I'm only going to say it in passing though, but something there that is the reason for this tunnel to exist, right? Originally the tunnel wasn't open through, put two in between the two parts of the cave system, essentially, the dwarf mines and the gnome area when they were one people, and then eventually they sealed it off. When the dwarves sealed it off, then they had put a secret entrance that you could only get a certain way, and only a few people knew about it. And eventually, the entrance there and the way to get in was kind of lost to time. Except occasionally, you'd have somebody like Roland who was super curious, and he's a child though. So, but I guess we could say he was a smart child, right? And he's playing around the tunnels, and he's able to find the secret entrance. He's able to open the door, and he's able to go in and go in and back whenever he wants. Now, there's something that happens. I'm not sure what. Maybe, just maybe, I don't know. Maybe even opening the door caused that or something. I'm not sure. I have to figure that out. But he does something. There's like a partial collapse, or there's something happens that maybe he destroys something or whatever. Maybe there, I don't know. Maybe it's in some of the rooms and the buildings in there, the caves. They're giant caves, but they're carved like buildings. So that essentially they're like buildings, but it's all underground, right? Um, they come up with this like out of my hat. It causes a partial cave in, or destroys something in some adjoining room. When they get mad and kick him out. And it's possible if I did do a cave in or whatever, it's cleaned up by now. It's possible that it's all cleaned up by now. Not to mention the smuggler's gate route was open when they were one people. And then when the dwarves closed it off, some of the builders, um, created the secret entrance just in case. I'm going to probably have some rooms or buildings. In this case, really, caves are carved out as buildings or rooms that have some purpose, meaning they still use the hallway, as opposed to the abandoned hallway. Okay, if it gets more stuff wrong, I'm gonna have to just add a new conversation. This is kind of why paying for an AI might be useful. If it increases the amount of the context window, then I shouldn't have as many of these kinds of problems. Two different tunnel areas. Smuggler's Gate Tunnel, originally built when dwarves and gnomes were still one people, connects the dwarf side of the gnome kingdom, later sealed by the dwarves. Builders secretly created a hidden entrance so the passage could still be used if needed. Roland's history here. As a kid, his mother worked in the library. He played in the tunnels. He discovered the secret entrance. Occasionally slipped in the gnome kingdom, watched things left without being noticed. The tunnels area is still structurally normal and not abandoned. The abandoned hall, mining machine area, completely separate branch of tunnels, ends in what appears to be a dead-end wall. Behind that wall is a sealed chamber containing the mining machine. The backstory: Roland's and grandfather built the machine to speed up mining. It malfunctioned and went berserk, and since they couldn't safely shut it down, they sealed the chamber quickly. A hallway leading there was abandoned and declared off limits. Right. So everyone now just looks at it like a pointless hallway that ends in solid rock. Sometimes noises can be heard behind the wall, reinforcing the legend that something is wrong back there. In fact, they might even created this legend that it was a some monstrous beast or waiting to devour children or something. That's part of the scary stories they tell children. Um, Roland's expulsion incident. You mentioned could work nicely if it happens in the Smuggler's Gate tunnel, not the machine hall. Possible structure. Roland sneaks in the tunnels again. He tries something reckless. Experiment. Shortcut. Partial cave-in or structural damage occurs. The dwarves get furious. Blame him for dangerous behavior. Ban him from the tunnels entirely. This also helps explain why he doesn't return for years. Why the tunnels become largely forgotten. Present day layout. So the tunnels now have three functional states. Active cavern areas used by dwarves. Example, storage cameras, workshops, carved living chambers, ore processing rooms. These are normal rooms carved into the rock. Smuggler's Gate route. Mostly unused, but structurally intact, contains hidden gnome entrance. This area has history, but isn't dangerous. Um, okay. Abandoned machine hall. Blocked off, eerie, doors avoid it. Features dead end wall, strange noises sometimes, old warning markings maybe behind it. The ancient berserk mining machine. Why this works so well story-wise. This gives you three different narrative tools: exploration, normal dwarf tunnels, secret history, smuggler's gate plus known patch, mystery danger, the sealed mining machine. Each tunnel feels different even though they are part of the same underground network. One small detail that might add flavor is Rush might have carved something near the sealed hall like warning runes, scratched messages, crude storm barrier. Example bot, do not break this wall or leave it sleeping. Very dwarf-like, very ominous. Yeah, you could say leave it sleeping. In fact, all indications could be that there was some sort of a beast here that they had to um, that would devour kids or something. Uh, have to figure out the specific events that got Roland banned because that movement could become an important character beat later in the story. Um, yes. Okay, so all right. Hmm. The library and the Smuggler's Gate all have are both equally weighted in terms of um what word am I looking for? Potential in getting into the kingdom. Well, that's not true either, is it? Okay, so one problem is the uh, okay. Okay, so I'm still trying to figure out how to make them seem equally, how do I say this? Exploration worthy. Exploration worthy. The library is the obvious first choice. He knows it well. His mom used to take him there all the time. So that makes the Lover's Passage not a hard sell. And in fact, could uh, draw players to start at the library and never even consider the other tunnels. Now, if Roland remembers the Smuggler's Gate, that might give it more weight than the library, because the player will know that he once got in there, and they might not think any other route is as important or even possible. Okay. The only one, of course, that doesn't have hardly any weight at all, meaning the player, meaning it's the one least likely to get picked, because there's nothing drawing the player to choose that. which is the abandoned hallway. So how do we make it interesting enough that they'll want to try all three? Why would I go to the library for abandoned hallway if I know I just need to find the entrance in Smuggler's Gate? Why would I go to the abandoned hallway when the two most likely candidates are through the library or at said secret passage? Any ideas? Basically, a player psychology problem, not a lore problem. Right now, each path has different levels of perceived usefulness, so players will naturally gravitate toward the one that seems most likely to succeed. To make them feel equally exploration worthy, the trick is to give each path a different kind of promise. Not that this might work, but something interesting is definitely here. The library, promise of knowledge. Path already works logically. Roland knows it well. His mother took him there, and it's toward the south. But instead of implying that it might contain the entrance, frame it as if anyone recorded something about hidden tunnels or old passages, it would be the librarians. Um, yeah, that's fine, but that also gives the it gives the most weight to the library. Becomes library clues, old maps, storeroom records, friend. Even the entrance of the library feels. I should check the records first. Um, Smuggler's Gate, the promise of a shortcut. The past has history of, and personal memory. Roland remembers sinking there as a kid and seeing the gnome side. Framing like this and Roland thinking if the old smuggling passage still exists, that would be the fastest way in. Now the expectation is Smuggler's Gate equals direct route, childhood memory, risky but harmless. Players will want to check it out because maybe Roland already knows the way. The abandoned hall. Yeah, you might. I mean, it might be good. You might have equal weight. Library is the more of the sure thing because it has all the information. He doesn't know about the he doesn't know about the lover's passage, but um, so automatically the first thing that came to mind in the library would not be the secret entrance through the library itself. So um, that would mean that okay. Let's see. This path has no hook, so good a weird thing. Exposed to see the wall occasionally. The doors always say don't go there. All the warning rooms are carved nearby. No one remembers. The accident happened somewhere near here. Abandoned hall, something strange. Players will check it out because something's going on here. The key trick. Each path should answer a different player instinct. Library, investigation, smoker's gate, progress, abandoned hall curiosity. When these motivations exist simultaneously, players naturally want to try all three. One more subtle trick very useful. When Roland arrives at the fork, let him mentally acknowledge all three. We'll pause at the fork of the tunnel. Straight ahead lies the old dwarven library with his mother once took him. If any records of hidden tales survived, they would be there. To the right, a passage leads towards the smuggler's gate. Roland once slipped through there as a child, though he never told anyone. To the left is an abandoned hall. Um, Sealed years ago after the mining machine incident, the air smells faintly of metal. Now every path is narrative weight. Okay, that's true. That would work. It'd be a little bit more. Um, hmm. Not every path is narrative weight. None feels like filler. Because your phase 1 story is linear from project notes, you can do something clever. Whichever path the player chooses first, they will eventually end up being to check the others. Yeah. I was thinking about doing that. Maybe that's right. Yes, yes. Because I can funnel you into a certain thing. Hmm. Um, that'll be fine. Let's see. Okay, I see. I can do the thing. Um, I'm thinking of the pattern and how it works. I can do the thing where I'm not trying to funnel you into a specific deal. However, um, I can do a thing where do you want to go on? How do I say this? Um, sure, go ahead. I've got some ideas too. Okay. 3 locks trick. Each location gives the player one piece of the solution, but never the whole solution. Case Smuggler's Gate sealed and alternative entrance is constructed beyond the western halls. Now the player knows there's another entrance somewhere, but they still don't know exactly where exactly. But something has changed. Examples: the entrance is collapsed. It's blocked by dwarven stonework. It only leads part way. Roland knows something interesting. Air flowing into the cracks. Gnome tool. Strange scratch in the rock. Hidden lever. Do the gnomes still use it? Where the one tiny detail makes it even better. In your case, abandoned hall clue, library explanation. Like they uncovered a mystery. The exact structure shows up a line of classic adventure design. Monkey Island, King's Quest Broken Sword. Players think they're solving a mystery, but the designer quietly guiding the investigation path. Um, each path. I would probably be saying having the mini adventure before the story reconnects. Partly because I don't have another place to put in a decision point here. That's part of the reason. The other part is just so it feels I don't know, it feels bigger, I guess. Well, I've used a similar structure where you um, you end up exploring all options, but choose the order to do so. The only issue here is there's still 3 ways to get in. I mean, I could do something like this that investigates each path. And then I could have it loop back to the fork in the road in order for Roland to take the path they want. I don't have any structural loop backs. It would just be another page at the same location. He checks out each location and then says, I want to think about this, and then he goes back to the crossroads before deciding. I did think about each having its own mini adventure, partly because this might be the only decision point in the chapter. I mean, I haven't decided yet, is what I'm trying to say. Produce very different player feelings, so it's worth deciding which emotion you want the moment to have. Investigation, return the fork. This structure you just described. Roland briefly explores each path, gathers a little context, and returns to the crossroads and chooses, for example. Short exploration scene. Roland, I should think about this. Return the final choice of entrance. And actually, what it would be is you know, does he want to go back to multiple pages though? I mean, I could do my full page count there probably, but and I can do the diamond pattern for that even so that the point that they all funnel toward is back at the fork. So they're back at the fork is the final deal. Well, actually, the diamond pattern doesn't do that. The diamond pattern allows you to short circuit. So I can't be a short circuit. It's probably got to be like the 15 page, and that's a lot of pages actually. The player feels like they scouted the area. The final choice feels informed. It prevents the player from missing world building. This approach works especially well for top heavy chapters because it lets you deliver lore before the real decision. Um, yeah, if I do that, I have to do kind of a special deal. But like I said, I can do all three where they essentially funnel back to the same location. I can do loop backs narratively. In other words, he goes through all three, then he goes back to the same place. It's a new page. It's not the old page, but it's a new page going back to location. So, three deals. Before you use the library, to the left is the is the tunnel you had the incident in. To the right um, is the forbidden tunnel where you can still hear noises and blah blah. And then so you pick the left tunnel, and then you examine it, whatever, he examines it. He can't do anything here, but he examines it. And then you say if you want to check out the library then the then the abandoned hall, the forbidden hall, whatever, that do this or this, and then the same thing with the other two deals. If you want to go to the library or the Smuggler's Gate, if you want to go to Smuggler's Gate, whatever, all three of them, right? I can do it that ways, and then the final decision, of course, is just one of the three decisions. Commits immediately, and the context differs depending on the path. Library path, puzzle, or discovery, Smuggler's Gate, stealth, or memory of the incident, abandoned hall, mystery. All three eventually lead inside the Gnome Kingdom. This creates replay value, a stronger feeling of player agency, a more traditional adventure game experience. It also means the player will only see one version of the story unless they replay. Yeah. This chapter might only have one decision point. You can combine both ideas. Stage 1, exploration optional. Roland can investigate each path briefly. Stage 2, commitment. After exploring, the player chooses where to enter. But here's the twist. The good old AI for you. Here's the twist. The exploration scene scenes change Roland's dialogue later depending on what he learned. The player visits the library first. Roland might say something like, if the old records are right, the smugglers use this route. If they explored the abandoned hall, strange, the tunnels here feel older than the rest of the mines. So the story adapts slightly, even if the final entrance choice is still the big decision. Another small trick that helps balance the three paths. At the crossroads, Roland can remember something personal about each direction that gives each option equal narrative weight. Example, the library. His mother used to take him there. Smuggler's Gate. Tell him connected to the accident that got him exiled. Abandoned hall. The sealed corridor tied to his grandfather's failed machine. But he doesn't know about it. See, that's the thing. He'll have to know about it if I do that. One thing I'm curious about, though, because it affects how players perceive the choice. Roland actually enters the Gnome Kingdom. Do all three entrances ultimately lead to the same location, or do they enter the kingdom from different places? Um, that's kind of a question. I might kind of fudge that. I mean, not that I don't have to. I have to at least think about it, right? So that you're. Um, so probably lead to the same location. Distance wise, they're on completely different ends of the cave system. But that's just narrative distance. Um, Also, it probably helps me if he ends up in the same location, because when John and Roland return, I'm not going through that again. Partly because they're not going through that again because the player already made their choice. I don't remember choices. Um, So it will be just Roland uses the path he used before to get into the kingdom. That's actually a pretty good question. We're so well structured, especially given your phase one good traits. Since phase one's usually an adventure style narrative, but you're not tracking persistent choices. Having all three entrances converge to the same arrival point in the Gnome Kingdom is a clean design. It avoids branching explosion while still giving the player a meaningful moment. Think of it like three different stories that each lead to the same door. Each patch becomes a character's backstory vignette rather than a long alternate route. The player's choice determines what piece of Roland's past they learn, not where the story ultimately goes. The library, Lover's Passage, Roland's mother, Romeo and Juliet connection, Dwarf Gnome history, nostalgia family. Smuggler's Gate, the childhood tunnel, the incident got Roland exiled, guilt memory. Abandoned Hall, the sealed machine built by his maternal grandfather, mystery legacy. All three reinforce Roland's family history, which you already noticed is a strong through line. Actually makes coincidence feel intentional rather than contrived. It becomes a chapter about Roland confronting pieces of his past. Why the convergence is actually helpful later. Your later scene with John works perfectly if Roland says something like, "There's a passage I used once before, follow me." The player understands what that means because they experienced one version of it earlier, but you avoid having to remember which one. From a design standpoint, it's basically Fork, Library Path, Smuggler Path, Abandoned All, Convergence, Gnome Kingdom, classic adventure structure. One tiny trick that makes players want to try all three. If each path reveals different information about Roland, curious players will naturally replay the chapter. Example, player reaction. Wait, what happens in the library? What was that machine thing? What incident got him kicked out? That's optional replay value, which is perfect for this type of narrative phase. One small suggestion for the Crossroads page. You can frame the choice entirely through Roland's memory, something like library. Mother used to take me there. Smuggler tunnel, that tunnel, the one I wasn't supposed to use. Abandoned hall. One thing I'm curious about actually affects a ton of the abandoned hall. When the doors seal the runaway mining machine behind the wall, is the machine still running in there, or do they just think it still might be running? You actually, it's starting to lose its memory. It's now going into its senile years, I guess. You actually kind of came up with that earlier. I might have to create a new conversation here soon because now you're not remembering some things. Casino senior citizen, but in dog years. Casino. Fair enough. Is the course structure related on three paths. Um, where the crossroads, Abandoned Hall. Okay. They were sealed. Okay. The doors still hear the machine. Okay, so there are a couple of things here which couple things here. Roland doesn't know much about his maternal grandparents. That can be true, though. So he doesn't really know anything about the incident. Probably nobody remembers. The machine is supposed to still be on, but powerless to do any damage at this point. It doesn't use a water tank, but a hose. Through which the steam is pumped through. If it's from a geothermal vent, however you put it in medieval fantasy terms, then it always has power and is occasionally making strange noises. Also, a sort of legend, urban legend about a beast or some untold horror that won't be revealed until Roland breaks through that wall. I could still make him know a little bit about his grandfather. If his grandfather invented it, he probably invented stuff. Even if he doesn't know about the incident, the one incident, the thing trapped there. He could still have stories from his mom talking about they used to invent things. Doesn't need to know about the truth for the player to want to investigate it. 3 different motivations was exactly what you want. Library familiar and knows this place well. Smoker's Gate, personal experience. Roland remember sneaking around this tunnel as a child and finding a hidden way. Oh, shoot, I'm late. This isn't gonna matter, but I need to quit so I can go on my break. So I'll see you in about an hour, and thanks for stopping by or watching the VOD later. Thank you for watching part 1. I'll see you in a bit.